You will meet thousands more people before you die. You'll shake their hands, learn their names, sit next to them on trains, and almost none of them will matter because the people who will define your entire life, the ones you'll love most, you've most likely already met. The doors are quietly closing and no one told you they were open. Most of us believe the opposite. We're taught that love is a lifelong lottery, that at any moment a stranger could walk in and change everything, that the best connection of your life might begin tomorrow with someone you haven't met yet. But that's not what the data says. And the real story is quieter and stranger than the one we tell ourselves. Start with a number. In the 1990s, a British anthropologist named Robin Dunbar noticed something strange about the brain. Across dozens of primate species, the size of an animal's social group could be predicted almost perfectly by the size of one region of its brain, the neocortex. He ran the numbers for humans. The answer came out to about 150. 150. That's the rough ceiling of relationships your mind can genuinely hold at once. Not faces in a crowd, not names in a contact list, people you actually know. And here's the part that matters. That space is not infinite, and it does not sit empty, patiently waiting to be filled. In 2016, Dunbar helped study the phone records of millions of people, tracking how often we contact the people in our lives and how that changes as we age. The pattern was almost mechanical. The number of people we regularly reach out to climbs through our teens, peaks somewhere in our mid-20s, and then begins a long, slow decline that never reverses. Around the age of 25, your social world is as large as it will ever be. After that, it only contracts. Think about that for a second. The widest your circle will ever be for the rest of your entire life may already be behind you. But a number only describes the shrinking. It doesn't explain it. To understand why, you have to look at how strangers become loved ones in the first place. Because it turns out that doesn't happen by magic. It happens by conditions. For decades, researchers studying adult friendship kept finding the same three ingredients. The first is proximity, being physically near someone over and over. The second is repeated, unplanned interaction, running into the same people without deciding to. And the third is a setting that lowers your guard, that quietly makes it safe to open up. When those three things line up, strangers turn into family with almost no effort at all. Now think about where all three exist at once. A school, a college dorm, a first job where everyone is new and a little afraid, a street you grew up on. For the first 2.5 decades of your life, you are soaked in these environments. You don't have to try. Closeness is simply the default setting of being young. And then, one by one, they disappear. In 1950, three psychologists, Festinger, Schachter, and Bach, studied friendships in a housing complex for students. What they found was almost insulting in its simplicity. The single biggest predictor of who became close friends wasn't shared values or personality or common interests. It was who lived near whom. People became friends with the person next door, and with whoever happened to live near the stairwell everyone used. Friendship, it turned out, was largely an accident of architecture, of who you couldn't avoid. As a child and a student, your whole world is built out of these accidents. As an adult, they vanish. In 2018, a researcher named Jeffrey Hall tried to measure something no one had ever put a number on: how long it actually takes to make a friend. His finding was sobering. A casual friend takes around 50 hours of shared time, a real friend about 90, and a close friend, the kind you'd call at 2 a.m., takes more than 200 hours together. 200 hours. As a student, you spent that with someone in a single month without even noticing. Now ask yourself when you last spent 200 slow, unhurried hours with someone new. For most adults, the honest answer is you can't remember. The math simply stops working, because adult life is built almost perfectly to prevent the very conditions that create love. You move to a new city and know no one. Work friendships stay politely behind the office door. Everyone is busy, scheduled, guarded, tired. You can meet 100 fascinating people and never once accumulate the raw, unstructured hours that turn a person into a home. This is the part no one warns you about. The loneliness of adulthood is not a personal failure. It is structural. The machinery that once manufactured deep bonds for you, automatically, invisibly, for free, simply switches off, and nothing arrives to replace it. And you might think the internet solved this, that we now meet more people than any humans in history. And we do, but connection isn't contact. We have thousands of names now, and fewer of the long, boring, face-to-face hours that friendship is actually made of. We've never been more surrounded, or more alone. So the doors don't slam. That's exactly what makes it so easy to miss. They ease shut one at a time, so gradually you mistake it for ordinary life. The last day of school, the final shift at a job, the friend who moves away, but will definitely stay in touch. Each one quietly closes a room where a stranger might have become someone you loved, and you almost never notice which goodbye was the last real chance. Here is the truth underneath all of it. The people you love most right now, you met through circumstances you will likely never be inside again. Not because those people were rare, but because the conditions were. It would be easy to hear all of this as a kind of sentence, a slow closing in, but there's another way to see it, and it might be the more honest one. If the doors really are closing, then the people already inside are not ordinary. They are the survivors of a process that has quietly ended. Every single person you love was a coincidence that will never assemble itself the same way again. The right place, the right years, the right unrepeatable hours. Statistically, they should have stayed strangers to you. Instead, they became your entire world. And we spend so much of our lives waiting for whoever comes next, scanning the horizon, assuming the best connection is still somewhere ahead of us, and in all that scanning, we barely look at the people who already made it through the door before it closed. You have almost certainly already met the people you will love most in this life. Not all of them, but most, which means the question was never really who you'll meet. It was always whether you'll notice them, before the last door eases shut, the way all the others did without a sound.